What could be worse than having to sit there listening to your ex basically just gush about someone that they're falling in love with, all while you're still attracted to them and hoping to recreate some sort of relationship with them? I mean, just sitting there listening to them tell you about how they are just so in love with someone else while you are sitting there right there hoping for something more from them. This is what a lot of people really dread. This is the friend zone. We're going to be talking about how to get out of the friend zone with your ex in this video. Please stay tuned through to the end. But first, before that, my name is Clay with modernlove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you, of course, deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing to this channel. It helps us out a lot. So I think I've got the audio issue fixed. Yeah, I was listening back to the recording from yesterday's video, and I was like, wow, that sounds terrible. I got my microphone here. I think it was plugged in and everything, but I didn't actually make that be the audio source for the live stream. So anyway, it should be fixed. Hoping if you just drop a comment in the chat section, maybe I can hopefully get some confirmation on that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into all of this. So the first thing you need to understand about the friend zone when it comes to your ex is that it really doesn't exist. This is going to be the big sort of, mind exploding thing that a lot of people may not know, especially if you haven't been following me or aren't familiar with my opinions on this subject. I've talked about this in many other videos. But the big thing with the friend zone is that it does not exist between you and your ex, barring certain circumstances. Now, of course, the friend zone does totally exist. Like if you just met some random person on the street and, went out on a first date with them or something, and, there was no attraction there. Okay, fine, legitimate, you might end up in the friend zone. And the truth is, theoretically, you could end up in the friend zone with your ex too, if you went through some sort of like massive personality change that they would consider for the worse. Maybe you're suddenly, very depressed. Maybe you've lost motivation in life. Maybe they thought that you were like a really honest person or something like that. But then it turns out that you maybe betrayed their trust, and it turns out you're a lying dirtbag or something like that. Okay, that potentially could cause them to lose attraction. But, if you're still showing up as more or less the same person, you're still, like physically more or less the same person, chances are they're going to stay attracted to you. And, when it comes to physical stuff, like, gaining or losing a significant amount of weight. Again, I know we're all very, self-judgmental of our bodies and all that sort of stuff. But, it has to be like a truly significant amount of weight or a truly significant physical change or something like that. I'm talking about like, 100 pounds or something like that. Not like, oh my goodness, I've gained 5 pounds or something, but, something really substantial. And anyway, that's probably going to reflect a mindset thing anyway. You have to have like some sort of personality thing or some sort of emotional issue that's probably going to cause you to gain a significant amount of weight or something like that, so it's really about, are you still fundamentally the same person that they got into a relationship with? And if you are, they're probably still attracted to you. Now you might be saying like, okay, well, my partner told me that they're just not attracted to me anymore. They told me that. How do you explain that, Mr. Smarty Pants? And the truth is that they probably still are attracted to you. It's just that the history, the baggage, the pain, all of the stuff that happened between the two of you, the hurt feelings, the arguing, the whatever, it's blocking that attraction from running its course. I mean, case in point, if you just think back to, some previous partner that maybe you've had in the past, or maybe someone that you were, attracted to in some way, but then you broke up with them, or you found out something about them that you didn't know, or something like that, and now you're no longer attracted to them, or crushing on them. Like if it were somehow possible for you to wipe their memory, or wipe your memory rather, of everything that you know about them, if you were still able to look at that person and see them, you'd probably say, that's probably an attractive person. Which just says, okay, it's really more of the history of what happened between the two of you. And so you just have to work through that emotional stuff, and then the blockage that's stopping the attraction from flowing will open up and allow more attraction to run its course. So that's something to think about there as well too. And then of course, your ex may also not seem attracted to you, or they might say they're not attracted to you as well too, because they could just simply be playing it safe. People's partners will often play it safe. They'll probably not be too forward or forthright about their true feelings about you, especially if those are positive, especially if they like you, or are attracted to you, or enjoy connecting with you, or anything like that. They probably won't be too forthright with that, especially in the early stages, in the preliminary stages of building an emotional connection. Why is that? It's because they don't want to be too, they don't want to risk giving you what they might consider false hope. They don't want to risk leading you on, because then they have to say, hey, does that make me a bad person if I flirted with you and you took it the wrong way? Does that make me a bad person if I said that I enjoy spending time with you? Is that going to make you think that I'm into you? I don't know what I think. I don't know what I want. I'm not sure what I feel. I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out. Does it make me a bad person if I'm going to say that? And so what oftentimes they may end up doing is holding that sort of stuff back, and just kind of keeping it to themselves, and just playing it very conservatively. It's really common. So that could be why it might seem like you could be in the friend zone. Again, chances are you definitely are not. I've never actually had a client who's been legitimately in the friend zone. We talked about the whole personality change, and the whole physical thing and all that. And I've never actually had a client that was in that sort of situation, in doing this since 2009, which is, I guess, coming up on 13 years now. But that's just kind of theoretically how it would happen. Now, next, we're going to get into how to actually escape the friend zone. But before we do that, if you do like this video, please make sure you drop a thumbs up for this. It does help us out with YouTube. Please make sure you're also subscribed to this channel as well too, and hit that bell icon while you're subscribing. And then just drop a comment in the comment section. Looks like we have just a handful of comments today. We will have some Q&A later on in this video after we get through the main content here. So if you have any questions, we can go ahead and answer that in the comment section. And if nothing else, just let me know you like these videos that I do to help me out with my low self-esteem, or at least the YouTube algorithm anyway. With that being said, how do you actually escape the friend zone? So the first things first is, like we talked about, realize that it doesn't exist. We've already talked about that. Next, when you're interacting with your partner, what you really want to do is you want to bring your best self to those interactions. We talked yesterday about being proactive versus reactive. If you could get through the poor audio quality, we talked about being proactive versus reactive. And you really do want to be proactive about embodying the best version of yourself, whatever that might look like. You're going to have a really hard time inspiring them to fall in love with you again, or to want to work things out with you again if you're depressed, or if you're just not pursuing your passions or values in life, if you're validation seeking, if you're anything like that. So again, if you need to work through some of that stuff, go ahead and work through some of that stuff. I know that a lot of times people are really just wanting to know, what do I text, what do I say? But again, that's more of a reactive state. I want you to strive to be more proactive, and it's not as sizzling and sexy and all that sort of stuff to talk about, hey, live your best life. But I promise you're going to have a much better return on the effort that you put into that sort of stuff than if it's just like, hey, how do I respond to this, vague emoji that they sent me or something? Seriously. Anyway, with that being said, the next thing that you want to do as well too is to drop the pressure between you and them. What do I mean by pressure? Pressure refers to the romantic pressure that they might feel when they're interacting with you. Like we said, one of the reasons that they why it might seem like you're in the friend zone is because they're playing it safe. They're playing it safe. They may not want to meet up with you because they're worried that it might give you too much hope. They may not want to flirt with you because they're worried it's going to send the wrong message. They may not want to, get intimate with you in some way because they're worried that it might make them someone who should feel bad about leading you on or something like that. So they're holding back. And if you look at that sort of behavior, basically it's an elevated level of pressure. And so what we really want to do is we want to drop that pressure, because then we're less likely to experience that sort of stuff. And so dropping the pressure is going to give them permission to actually interact with you in a free and uninhibited way that is going to allow them to bring more of their authentic self, or at least make it much more likely. So what we want to do is we want to create an understanding that, hey, we can be on the same team here, and that we can just interact with one another and, not feel like we have to read each other's mind or manage each other's expectations or something like that. And if you're able to do that, then it's much more likely that they're actually going to follow through with all of this stuff. And, if you need help with any of that, we, of course, do have relationship repair over at modernlove.life/RR for first R is for relationship, second R is for repair. We'll put a link to that down below in the description below this video, if that's something that you want to check out. But then the next thing is to actually just push the limits of where things are between the two of you. Okay, so you understand that the friend zone likely doesn't exist between you and your partner. You also understand that you have to bring your best self to the interactions. Third, you want to drop that pressure. And then fourth, you want to occasionally, when it makes sense, push those comfort zones that exist between the two of you. Because, like with any relationship, platonic, romantic, whatever, there's going to be a sort of comfort zone that exists between the two of you. You may know that, like, hey, maybe you have a friend and you have like differing political views, and to keep the peace, you don't want to talk about politics. Or you have a certain friend that you have a certain comfort level with, and it's like, okay, yeah, we can get together at the bar and just hang out, but it seems a little bit weird to invite them over to my house, or vice versa, or something. And it's just kind of how it is with most social dynamics. It's not there's anything wrong with it. It's just it would be kind of a step outside of what feels normal. And that can be because of previous interactions that you've had, or just sort of where things settle out. And so we want to understand that this is a dynamic at play here, especially between you and your partner. And then we want to say, okay, I need to be willing to step out of that comfort zone from time to time, just to sort of press into the discomfort and see what happens. Again, yesterday, if you were able to put up with the poor audio quality, again, I think I've managed to fix it. Now that more people are on this call, please just drop a comment in the chat, just letting me know that the audio quality is sounding pretty good, and you'll help me out, I think. But anyway, with that being said, you want to be able to push into that discomfort. So like we were talking about yesterday, you can think about this as if you were just sort of like dropped into a dark room and you wanted to get out of that room. What would you need to do? You obviously need to get from where you are to the exit. Okay, great. The audio quality is great. Okay, great. So I've pushed the appropriate buttons and got it figured out. Okay. I guess that's what happens when you take 2 months off from live streaming, is you forget all the buttons. Anyway, so if you want to get if you're dropped in the middle of a dark room and you don't know the layout of the room and you don't know what's in the room and you want to get out of the room, you need to get from where you are to the exit. But if you were to just sort of willy-nilly start walking across the room or lunging across the room, you could potentially trip over some furniture, smack into a wall, walk into a bookshelf or something like that. It could potentially be, maybe a little bit risky. Um, and it's fine if you feel comfortable taking big risks outside of your comfort zone like that. Like if you just want to like lunge into the darkness and hope for the best. Um, but what most of us would probably do is we would probably just sort of gently feel into the darkness and say, okay, there's something over here. Okay, might want to avoid that area. Oh, feels sort of open and clear over here. Okay, I could probably take a step there. And that's what you want to do when it comes to stretching the comfort zone of your relationship that you have with your partner here, is you want to be able to say, okay, we might have this thing going where we're able to platonically talk or text or something like that. But what would happen if I started to, just occasionally flirt? What would happen if I just, said, hey, the way that you talk about XYZ, that's really sexy to me. Please stop. Otherwise, I'm going to get too turned on that I'm not going to be able to handle it. Like, what would happen? Maybe it would be received well, in which case, okay, now you have that new space within your comfort zone in that dark room that you can safely move into. And now your comfort zone is a little bit bigger. And then what happens if it's not received well? If you maybe try a different thing, maybe you mostly just text and you want to talk on the phone, or you ask them to meet up in person. Well, if you get pushback at that point, that just lets you know, okay, that lets me know now there's something more specific I need to focus on. Why might they be feeling uncomfortable meeting up in person? Is it because there's too much pressure? Is it because maybe they're feeling a little bit attracted and they don't know if they're going to be able to, stay in control of themselves? Or maybe it's something else. I don't know. But chances are, at least when I hear something like that, it's probably something to do with pressure. We need to drop that pressure. And one thing I'd really recommend that you do is you test the comfort zone at least 2 times. So, maybe you're just hanging out and the moment feels right or something, and you go in for a kiss, but instead, they turn their head and you get a cheek or something like that. Okay. Don't take it as like the ultimate defeat, slink into failure or anything like that, but just say, okay, maybe in that moment they just weren't ready for it. Maybe it caught them off guard or something. Maybe I misread the moment or something. But one thing you can be sure of is that they're probably thinking about that, for the next probably several days afterwards. Like, hey, I can't believe that they tried to kiss me. Oh my goodness. What does that mean? Do I want to kiss them? All that. And then, when the moment arises again, next time in the future, try it out again. Because now that they've had some time to think about it, they might actually decide, hey, I actually do feel something for you. And if I was in that situation again, I would probably be more receptive to it. That's happened to me before in my life. It's happened to many clients before and their experiences as well too. So it could be something worth trying out. With that being said, though, you may also want to enforce some boundaries if and when you need to with your partner. If they do talk too much about a rebound, or if they do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, you really want to have the confidence to enforce some sort of boundary with them to help you to protect yourself from getting pulled into some sort of situation. Again, like what I said at the beginning of the video, probably one of the worst case things that people could imagine is that they're pining for this person and they're just, gushing about how in love they are with someone else. And, obviously that's not something great. And if that's happening, then, just say something like, hey, given our history, I just don't feel comfortable, hearing you talk about how you're like romantically in love with someone else. So is it okay if we just, don't talk about that, at least for now? Especially like, if the breakup is recent. I mean, granted, your ex should have enough tact to not do this. This is more just sort of like a worst case fear imagined by most people. But, that's how you would respond to something like that. Anyway, with that being said, once again, if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, ring the bell while you're down there. Drop me a comment letting me know what you think about all this. How would you recommend someone escape the friend zone? Do you think the friend zone between people who used to be in a relationship is real? Do you think it's not real? Go ahead and share your comments down below. And with that being said, let's go into some Q&A. Now, we're going to start with the super chats that people have left. Again, I do not do these live streams specifically for you to, donate money to me or anything like that. But, I can't stop you. And it's my understanding that it's the general etiquette of the internet for me to actually respond to super chats. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then if there's time left over, we can address other questions that people are asking. But let's see. First one we have is from Jack. Jack says, "Hi, Clay. My ex and I broke up 4 years ago." Let me just angle that down so you can actually see my face. It doesn't look like I'm hiding here. My ex and I broke up 4 years ago, so it's been a while. Soon after that, I had to move to another country, so there wasn't really much I could do at the time. Currently, I am planning on moving back home in 2 months, and I have decided I would like to try reconnecting with her again. But now she's in a relationship, and it's been 2 or 3 years. There's some more. I texted her a month ago, and she was actually warm and responsive. Then last week I texted her again, and right after I mentioned I was coming back, she ghosted me. I don't know what to make of this. Do I leave her the burden of responsibility to get back to me when she's ready, or do I continue to reach out? And then that's where we leave off. Okay, so just to sum it up, we have someone who broke up 4 years ago, so it's been enough time if you're gonna think about it like that. And then he moved away. He's moving back now, and he reached out to her. She was warm, but then when he mentioned that, like, hey, it's really happening, I'm moving back here, then she actually ghosted him. She's been in a relationship for something like 2 or 3 years, and that tells me there's probably pressure involved in the situation. She's worried, like, hey, what does it mean that I'm talking to my ex when I'm in a relationship with someone else? I've been with this person for 2 or 3 years. Does that make me a bad person? Does that make me kind of, all that? I have to watch my language here because I'm on YouTube, and you never know if someone's watching and they got like kids or something like that. But she's probably concerned about how she's going to be perceived, or how she might think of herself if she's in a relationship with someone else and she's texting her ex. So what could be really helpful here is if you drop the pressure and have like a same team conversation with her. Again, we do have a short little thing on how to do all of that over at modernlove.live/RR, relationship repair. So, check that out if that's something you need a little bit of help with. But it does sound like she, needs to understand that, hey, there's nothing wrong with me if I'm talking to Jack. There's nothing bad about me if I'm talking to Jack. I'm not cheating on my partner if I'm talking to Jack. I can have this sort of low stakes situation where I'm just reconnecting with someone that, I was in a relationship with, and, now he's moving back home. Okay, it doesn't have to mean anything. I can just focus on just letting my guard down and just focus on the emotional connection and see where that goes. That, I think, is how you're going to help her to have more of a low pressure sort of situation with all of this, where she's going to give herself permission to open up and talk to you a lot more. So, Jack, I hope that helps you out. Again, drop the pressure, have the same team conversation. Moving on, we have a super chat from Slothy. Oh, hey there, buddy. Yeah, I remember you back before I took my 2 months off, when I was just kind of overwhelmed with, my mom's health issues and, getting COVID and all that. If y'all missed my video yesterday, short version, haven't done a live stream in something like 2 months because my mom had a heart attack after having the stroke back in March. And COVID back in like February or something. So, took some time off, was really stressed out, went up to Seattle to help her out, take her to hospitals, take her to, visit her to the hospital like a million times while she was getting all of that health stuff figured out. Did a bunch of chores around the house for her, batch cooked like a bunch of stuff so she didn't have to worry about what to eat for the first, week or so. After she got back from the hospital, picked up some prescriptions, all that sort of stuff. And of course, I'm like stressed out the whole time. And by the way, I forgot to mention this yesterday, but she seems to be doing reasonably well right now. She has a lot of follow-up appointments and all of that sort of stuff, but she seems to be doing okay. Of course, I said that when she had the stroke, not knowing she was going to have a heart attack this past spring. But hey, as far as I know, she's doing a lot better. She had a stent put in her heart, so now she's okay. But it's always kind of stressful and it can shake you emotionally. When you see a parent, I imagine most of you who may have been in this situation, when you see one of your parents not in a great state. I went to go pick her up at her house to take her to the hospital, and she's like, having a hard time breathing because fluid was, flooding her lungs and all of that, which, I guess that's what happens when you have a blockage in one of your arteries. I don't know. And that was, kind of disturbing for me. And then, of course, after that, like a week or two later, we all got COVID over here, my wife and daughter and I, and we're basically just like out of commission for a week or so. But anyway, things seem to have leveled off for now in terms of the three-ring circus that has been my life over the past 6 months. Hoping it stays that way, hoping I can have some stability here. Anyway, Slothy, back to you. Thanks so much for the super chat. Let's see. Here's what we got from you. My ex rebounded within a week. Fast forward 5 months later, and she is still with him. But her friends and herself have been watching my stories on Instagram a lot. And then she sent me a friend request a couple of days ago. Okay, so I guess that you like unfollowed each other or something. And now she wants to, be friends again. She has not messaged me as of now, but sometimes her friends reach out and have small talk about my stories, and they start asking, who is this girl I have in my followers list? Is there hope? Yeah. So, there's a little bit more here. I've already to no contact for 2 or 3 months. Okay. At Richie. I guess that's maybe your real name, Richie, as opposed to Slothy. If you're, I don't know, maybe your name is Slothy. Who knows? Especially these days. But anyway, yeah. So basically, you haven't been in contact for a while. She reached out to you. By the way, thank you so much for staying up like super late. Based off of the currency of the super chat, pounds. I'm guessing you're in the UK. So thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I know it's probably like the middle of the night or something for you right now. At least for me, as a married guy with a kid, I can't really do that anymore. I need to get to bed at a reasonable time because no matter what, my daughter's waking up at, she's been having some sleep issues, so she's waking up at like 3 a.m. But anyway, getting back to the question here, I think that her friends are reaching out to you because they're trying to find out information about you. I don't know if she's the one who's orchestrating all of this, and she's, like, hey, Sally, you should reach out to Richie, Slothy, whatever. Find out who that girl is that I saw him with on Instagram, or find out who that person is he's following or whatever. I don't know if she's doing that or if they're just, like, oh, hey, Richie's following this girl now. What does that mean about, what was the pretend name I was using for your ex? Sally? I don't know. What does that mean about Sally? Let's go probe around and again, I don't know. I don't know what the dynamic they have is, but it definitely seems like someone is curious about you. Someone is curious about what you're up to. Someone is curious about if you're interested in someone, in a relationship with someone or anything like that. I would probably say there's a reasonable chance that it's her, and I see nothing wrong in you initiating contact with her. I see nothing wrong with that. I know that could be maybe against the grain of what maybe, some other people on YouTube might say, but there's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. It's totally fine. As long as you're not carrying a needy, validation seeking energy, it's totally fine. You can initiate contact with people. Like I said before, imagine, actually, no, I said this on a video that hasn't been published yet. Okay, so this is the first time I'm going to say this, but imagine that you're, all politics aside, imagine you're the president of the United States, or the prime minister of the United Kingdom, whoever that is. I guess it's not Boris Johnson anymore. But imagine you're some world leader. Are you just going to sit there and be like, hey, I'm just gonna wait for the president of some other country to contact me. I'm just gonna wait because I don't want to seem desperate or need. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to pick up the phone and you're going to say, hey, President so and so, let's figure this out. Let's figure out the trade negotiation infrastructure, whatever deal, and get the act signed that makes us partners, or whatever. They're going to pick up the phone. They're not needy because they're initiating something. They hopefully don't have a needy energy to them, but just initiating something doesn't make you needy. And so I think it's totally fine for you to initiate contact with her. Just be like, hey there, stranger, saw you want to be friends again. How have the past 5 months been for you? Or just something like that, just to kind of get some conversation going and just see where things are going to take you from there. I think that's totally fine as long as you're not carrying that needy energy, much like what we talked about yesterday. Again, if you can put up with the lousy audio quality, sorry for that. But again, Slothy, thanks so much. I hope you get some rest tonight, and feel free to jump on one of these live streams in the future if you have any updates or anything like that you want to share. Next up, we have Michelle, who says, Hagen Clay, today me and my ex met up. Again, thank you for numbering the post so I can follow them. We kind of talked about that yesterday, but again, audio quality, maybe you didn't watch that part. So number 2, so X and you met up again. I went to the house that we rented together and waited for him and met him at the bar. It was okay. He seemed to always be on his phone or looking away, but the conversation went well. This is the first real time. Is there a number 3? There's the number 3. The first real time that we have met since the breakup. I cried a bit because he seemed like he wasn't all up for it, but he denied it and said he's here. He's here. Said that he's here. He's talking. The reason he's not been texting and calling is that he is number 4. He's been on about me clearing up all my stuff, and when we left the bar, he and I can start, I guess, talking because he wants it done as soon as possible. Later on, I admitted I'm scared to clear out all of my stuff. 5, because I fear that he won't talk to me anymore. He said he would. I then said, I mean, in building a connection way, and he said he didn't know. Then we started talking about having feelings for other people. I said I'm not looking and I'm focused on building our connection. He said the other girl he had feelings for said no, and he said, don't worry, it's never going to happen. Then said, part 7 here. Don't worry, I'm not looking for anyone else for a relationship right now or someone to sleep with. And when I heard that, I was like, why would you think I was worried? A lot of conversation happened. Part 8. And even though he looked at his phone a lot, I feel it went well. And what he said, like the don't worries gave me hope for us. Am I right that these are good signs? Okay, so actually scrolling down, I see a part 9 here. He also said I should get on Tinder. What first made me a bit like what? But thinking more about that and the other information I have said, could this mean we are moving past riding the dragon? Okay, so like all of this, honestly, it just sounds like he's concerned about the pressure. He's concerned about some sort of romantic pressure between the two of you. So, like what I would do is I would try to drop that pressure. Actually talk about this with him. Like, hey, there's no pressure here between the two of us. Actually have like this sort of easygoing, open-minded, detached from outcome sort of mindset and approach when you're interacting with him. I think that the pressure may have come. Where was it? I'm looking for the comment here that you posted. Yeah, here. Later on, I admitted I'm scared to clear out all my stuff. Like, is that like your physical stuff? Like you still have stuff at his place or something? I'm not following. But yeah, I'm scared to clear out all of my stuff because I'm afraid you won't talk to me anymore. Okay, so that kind of comes across as attached to outcome, and that kind of comes across as like, hey, there's pressure being added to this situation. Now, again, on top of that, he might have his own pressure from like, hey, I haven't seen Michelle in ages. Like we have our past, our history or whatever. Like if I meet up with her at the bar, does that mean that she's gonna, want something? Like, do I want to lead her? Does that make me a bad person if I lead her on? All that sort of stuff. So he might have been feeling that pressure, which is probably why he was spending a lot of time on his phone. Again, we've talked about this. No, actually, that was, again, a video I recorded on Monday, and it has not been published yet. But yeah, again, a lot of the reasons why people turn towards their phones is because they're uncomfortable with the present moment. A lot of the reason why people do things like that is because they're uncomfortable with whatever's happening in the current moment. In the past, we used to be able to just have a moment where we're bored and we're just waiting for a bus or something, and we just have to sit there and watch the dog across the street or watch the leaves blow in the wind or something like that. But now we can say, oh well, let me get on social media and check what's going on, and it's kind of conditioned us to turn away from the present moment. This is well documented in the work of Sherry Turkle. And then if you like take that to the next step, whenever we're heavily uncomfortable, like in a relationship situation or when we're having a disagreement with someone, or maybe in this particular situation where you're getting together with someone at a bar or something like that, and you're worried that they have romantic intents on you and you're not sure what you think, yeah, you might turn away from the present moment and look on your phone or zone out or something like that because it's uncomfortable for you to be there in the present moment. So I think I do think that it's actually good that he was open and honest with you about a lot of stuff and that he actually met up with you. I think that's all great. I think it's also great that he's not looking for anything. He's not trying to force anything. He's not anything like that. He's open to talking to you. But I do see pressure in this situation, and I really would recommend that you try to find ways to drop that pressure. I think that's going to really improve the way that the two of you interact with one another. Anyway, so have like a same team conversation, drop the pressure, etc. All the stuff that we talk about over in relationship repair, again over at modernlove.life/RR. Anyway, with that being said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for putting up with my absence for a while on the live streams. Anyway, I try to keep the pre-recorded videos going. And thanks so much for putting up with the poor audio quality yesterday. Again, if you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check out this video over here. It might be really interesting for you. Take care, and I'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow.